And just in with the 8 o'clock advisory, Imelda is now a hurricane. I'll show you what that means coming up.
Plus, rainy commute. Imelda is bringing wet conditions to our area this morning. You're taking a live look at I-40 near RDU from the WRAL storm tracker. What you need to know about the roads as you head out the door.
Now, of course, communities all along the coast are dealing with rain, wind, and rip current threats from Imelda. This is a live look at Cary Beach this morning. How the state is responding after some of these same areas dealt with impacts from Hurricane Aaron earlier this summer. We are tracking rain all across the viewing area and along our coast as Hurricane Imelda, as Elizabeth just mentioned, churns in the Atlantic. So glad you're with us here in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox 50. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Laura Levine. We have a lot of ground to cover. We have team coverage in the Triangle and on the North Carolina coast. We begin first with meteorologist Elizabeth Gartner with that update. Elizabeth.
So winds just jumped from 60 to 75 miles per hour. I'm sorry, it was 70 to 75 miles per hour. So it's now a hurricane. It's still sitting off the coast of Florida. It's almost 200 miles north of the Bahamas, and it's already started that northeasterly trajectory. And so that's what we want to see. The forecast is still for it to continue to track offshore. And the fact that it's stronger doesn't really mean anything for the impacts here. What it does mean is that eventually it could become Category 2 before it moves over Bermuda. So Bermuda is the area that's going to get most heavily impacted by Imelda and also by Umberto. So it'll continue to track along and pull away from the coast of North Carolina. We do have north of Imelda a plume of moisture that continues to bring us some rain this morning. It's a little bit heavier now along and north of I-85. It started to taper off a little bit for the southern part of Wake County and in our southern counties and northeastern counties too. So this band of rain is on its way out of here slowly. You can see the chance of rain diminishing actually pretty quickly between now and lunchtime. And then into the afternoon and evening, we're looking at just an isolated shower or a sprinkler too. So we continue to see some light rain in parts of the area this morning. Rain will continue tapering off through the middle of the day, and we're back to just some cloudy skies and a sprinkler or two this evening. But it's pretty wet in the Triangle right now. 67 is our temperature at RDU, and we're looking at highs in the low 70s. Of course, we're looking at some impacts along the coast. They're fairly minor, but I'll go over some of the advisories there coming up. Ken?
Elizabeth, with these wet road conditions, we've got congestion building all over the Triangle. We also have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Let's check in with Ali Cadler and photographer Michael joining you in I-40 westbound this week, and you've been driving around all morning long. What are you seeing right now?
Conditions are definitely improving, in at least where we are. We are on I-40 west and near RDU, and we are seeing that very light rain right now. Of course, the roads are still wet, and we do still see water on those shoulders and entrances and exits, but people are still driving pretty slow, taking it cautious right now. As we can see, we were just stuck in some of that congestion you mentioned, Ken, and we can see that people have their lights on still. Those windshield wipers are still needed, even though that rain is light. But of course, we are keeping you guys updated here again, I-40 westbound near RDU. That's where we're at. Ken, which people know as they head out the door.
Well, we've been encouraging you all morning long to leave the house a little sooner than usual because you're dealing with these wet road conditions. These are the I-40 westbound lanes there at Lake Wheeler Road moving away from us. So that's southern loop of the Beltline. You're looking at a 13-minute delay between the Lake Wheeler Road and US 1 this morning. You're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, Highway 36, coming into the Beltline. You're looking at a 9-minute delay. Now, that northern loop of the Beltline, we are seeing a bit of congestion building as well as we look live at I-440 and New Bern Avenue. So if you're taking that northern loop of the Beltline, you're looking at a 13-minute delay as well. The heaviest congestion is between New Bern Avenue and Capitol Boulevard. It begins to ease just a little bit as you go through Six Forks and Glenwood Avenue. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out. And if you're heading out, tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated all morning long, 101.5 HD3.
Hurricane Imelda is bringing rain to parts of North Carolina this morning as it prepares to head to sea. WRAL's Monica Casey is tracking conditions in Cary Beach this morning. Monica, now some of the main concerns here include wind and rip currents.
That's right. Rain really not a problem at all here this morning, but you might be able to hear the wind gusting in my microphone. It has been going all morning, and the ocean is pretty rough, but it's actually improved a bit from what we were seeing early this morning around 4:30, 5 a.m. I have seen people going down to the end of the pier here as well to do some fishing. Now, Governor Stein declared a state of emergency on Saturday across our state to make sure all assets at the state's disposal were ready to assist if needed here along the coast. And he said in a press conference yesterday he has activated the state emergency response team, including public safety and transportation.
The storm will likely linger, and hazardous conditions on the coast may continue throughout the end of the week. So if you're visiting the beaches, please stay out of the water this week.
And now, luckily, we have not seen people in the water this morning, but we are seeing people out and about here on the sand, making the best of this little bit of a chilly and a breezy beach day here. Governor Stein saying in that press conference yesterday they were prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best. Live in Curie Beach, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Of course, those are conditions on the southern beaches. Now, Dare County and other parts of the Outer Banks expected to be under a coastal flood advisory starting this morning as well. This is a look at what officials in Dare County were dealing with yesterday. After Hurricane Erin earlier this summer, homes in several communities are now in danger of collapsing into the ocean, and homeowners are now worried that Imelda could provide a final push. Outer Banks photographer Donnie Bowers says there are plenty of homes in harm's way right now.
It's about there's about 5 houses, probably Rodanthe, that are kind of sitting in the surf or near the surf, and there's probably 15 in Buxton that are sitting, in the surf almost.
We should also point out that some homes in better shape have turned to putting up sandbags to try to fend off the ocean and this storm. You can track the rain and the tropics in real time. Be sure to turn on those push notifications so you can receive alerts about weather changes in your area.
Let's get a live look at the Capitol Hill this morning as the federal government is running out of time to pass a spending bill and avoid a government shutdown. The government runs out of money at 12:01 tomorrow morning. And as the clock keeps ticking, people in our area are bracing for what could happen if the federal government was to shut its doors. So WRAL's Kelsey Coffey, she's live at the federal courthouse right now. Kelsey, this could put federal jobs at risk.
Yes, Laura, it could. Thousands of federal jobs are at stake right now, and operations here at the federal courthouse in Raleigh may look different here in the next 24 hours. Time is running out for another government shutdown. This time tomorrow, all non-essential government functions could be at a standstill. We spoke with Meredith College political science professor David McLennan about what this all means. He says essential services like Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare might not be affected initially, but there could be some serious disruptions in other government operations. The Trump administration is considering mass layoffs of federal workers. McLennan says that could impact North Carolina the most for people who work for government entities like the EPA or national parks.
All shutdowns have some impact. Some are fairly minimal, with shutdown is short, and some are much longer. But if people start getting fired, not just furloughed, that's going to add to the unemployment. We're already in a difficult job situation.
McLennan says there likely won't be a quick solution for this, and that's because of partisan shifts, as well as the fact that we've had longer government shutdowns in the past, like the 35-day shutdown that happened back in 2018. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, we're expecting to learn new information about the victims in that deadly shooting at a waterfront pub in Southport. Yesterday, a judge ordered 40-year-old Nigel Edge to be held without bond and is expected to be back in court in 2 weeks. The former U.S. Marine is charged with 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. Edge is accused of firing from a boat into a crowd at the American Fish Company's Southport pub Saturday night. Investigators say the shooting was premeditated, but they don't have a motive right now.
Cuts are on the way for the police and fire departments in Rocky Mount as the city deals with the financial crisis. The city now has to slash $30 million in less than a year. City leaders held a special meeting last night where they said every department will be impacted. The police department could lose roughly 10 to 15 positions. The fire department could lose around 5 to 10 jobs. The city says non-essential vacancies and newly created jobs will be among the first to go. Rocky Mount city manager says the cuts on the way could be painful.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We definitely have some difficult days, months, years ahead. But all of us working together, we will definitely make this go in the right direction.
And WRAL has learned that the city's savings fund had about $100 million back in 2023. That's the year the city decided to raise the starting pay for police officers by 36%. That savings fund is now down to around $20 million.
Still a lot more to share with you here in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox 50. State investigation. Johnston County schools accused of keeping a student with autism out of the classroom, while a disability rights group says this is part of a larger issue.
Plus, Medicaid funding. Governor Josh Stein says cuts could be on the way as time runs out to pass a budget. The warning from state officials to hospitals and doctors.
And we still have some rain across our area this morning. It is beginning to taper off. I'll show you when we'll start to see the rain moving on out completely coming up. (8:13) and of course Imelda just became a hurricane, still on track to follow Umberto on out to sea. Umberto is much closer to Bermuda and is starting to weaken as Imelda starts to strengthen. So we're going to talk about what that could mean. But again, both of these expected to move away from shore. Looking at about 200 miles off the coast of Florida, that's where Imelda is right now. And we are seeing some scattered showers. A flow of moisture coming up from the north continues to bring some tropical moisture in, but a lot of that is starting to taper off. It's steadiest from Durham up through the I-85 corridor. We'll be watching that, but starting to taper off pretty nicely from the southern part of Wake County down through the Sandhills. And our chance for rain will rapidly drop as we get through the morning. This afternoon, just a few sprinkles left, but nothing as wet during the evening commute as we're seeing this morning. So how rare is it for us to see a double right turn like that off the East Coast? Meteorologist Chris Michaels coming up to take a peek at that and ask the meteorologist.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We got a real mess happening on I-40 eastbound, starting around between Aviation Parkway and right near Wade Avenue. You can see the huge delays it's causing on I-40 eastbound. I would recommend getting onto I-540 this morning eastbound to avoid what's happening there in those eastbound lanes coming in. We're seeing some heavy congestion on that northern loop of the Beltline as well. You're looking at a 13 to 15-minute delay coming in from in that northern loop. So if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning, you're running into some delays as well. I would recommend that southern loop of the Beltline just to be on the safe side and avoid that northern loop for right now.
Ken, thank you. State officials are investigating Johnston County schools after a complaint involving autistic children. Disability Rights North Carolina says the school system improperly kept a student with autism out of school for hours every day and took away the student's communication device. The group claims this is part of a larger pattern of keeping students with autism out of the classrooms with their non-disabled peers. Attorney Glennis Hagan says the trend is alarming.
We're starting to see a pattern. It's like if it were one or two students, that's one thing, but we've seen this now with 4 students from one district.
So in another investigation earlier this year, the state did not find systemic issues in Johnston County's special education services. Johnston County schools did not respond to a WRAL News request for comment. Cuts to the state's Medicaid program could be coming as soon as this week. Governor Stein says the lack of a new state budget by the October 1st deadline has left Medicaid short millions. State lawmakers debated 2 plans to boost Medicaid funding last week, but in the end, GOP leaders failed to reach a deal, and lawmakers went home without approving anything. The state has now been warning hospitals and doctors the funding cuts can now be passed on to them. Republican lawmakers pushed back, saying cuts should not be needed immediately. We have full coverage of the funding fight in the NC Capitol section of our website.
Hurricane Imelda's sharp turn has some asking, is that rare? Let's get to meteorologist Chris Michaels showing us with the one storm that took an eerily similar path and has an eerily similar name.
Yeah, exactly. This was one of those things that we had to do a double take when we were looking at it in the Weather Center this morning. The red line, that is so far what we've seen out of Hurricane Imelda. The green line that you see there, that's the past path of Hurricane Umberto in 2019. So there was a storm named Umberto 6 years ago, and both of them took that path from the Bahamas up the coast of Florida and then jutted out to sea there. Now, look, storms don't just form and move in a straight line, right? They get guided every which way. As they grow taller, they're more susceptible to some of the upper level winds. So again, they'll just kind of move according to those steering currents. And this is what happened with that Umberto in 2019. There was high pressure over the eastern U.S., low pressure near the maritime provinces. That west wind was guiding it away from us. But this time around, the current Hurricane Umberto is kind of our saving grace. It is the stronger of the two storms. It'll take Imelda out to sea, but still going to remain breezy at times. We'll show you the peak wind gusts coming up in just a bit with Elizabeth.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, following some breaking news right now out of Quantico, Virginia. This is Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. He is addressing military officials as the government faces a midnight shutdown. He just came on stage. He said remarks saying, "Welcome to the military, the Department of War, the Department of Defense. That era is over." That is what he is saying on stage right now. Again, this is in Quantico, Virginia. The federal government will shut down at midnight unless Congress reaches a deal on funding. They plan to deliver remarks today to hundreds of generals and admirals gathered from around the world. The meeting, designed to be, quote, a pep rally, was originally planned by Hegseth. Gathering so many generals and admirals at once, this is very unusual. This is highly unusual. This last minute event has meant that hundreds of officers were forced to make last minute plans. But again, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth on stage right now. We are also expecting to hear from President Trump at some point as well.
Michelle, we know that you will continue to follow those remarks. Thank you. Well, Louisiana's Governor Jeff Landry is asking for federal help to address crime. Governor Jeff Landry has requested permission to activate up to 1,000 National Guard troops. They would be deployed to urban centers throughout the state and would supplement local law enforcement. Landry cited high crime rates in New Orleans and Baton Rouge as reasons for the move. This comes as ICE agents have been spotted in Chicago over the last few days, and Oregon officials filed an emergency motion to stop the federal deployment of troops in Portland. Well, now it's time to get a check on the forecast with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Elizabeth, I know you're tracking the tropics here with Imelda now becoming a hurricane.
And we're seeing all this rain that is pushing up from the south. And of course, that's been a fixture for much of the morning. As a matter of fact, it started yesterday morning and continued through the afternoon and overnight. We're finally starting to see it tapering off a little bit, pretty much right on schedule. We'll see it continuing to taper off pretty quickly between now and lunchtime. We haven't seen a whole lot of rain along the I-95 corridor in the last couple of hours, and now it's really starting to ease up in the Sandhills as well. We'll zoom in. Still seeing some showers in Chapel Hill and Durham and in Raleigh, but you can see a lot more holes in the rainfall than we did a little while ago. How much rainfall have we seen so far? Chapel Hill seen a little over an inch, Lake Wheeler about an inch, as well as Clinton a little under an inch, and half an inch in Oxford, about 3/4 of an inch. Across parts of the region. We take a look at Futurecast, and you can see the rain really dissipating quickly between now and lunchtime. We'll see cloudy skies for the rest of the day, and it'll be a little breezy, a few sprinkles, and those sprinkles could last until early tomorrow morning. You can see just a little bit of light patchy rain there around 8 o'clock, and then after that, we should see some fairly rapid clearing. Even though this version of Futurecast is pretty slow to clear us out, I do feel like in the afternoon we'll see a bit more sunshine. How about the rest of the day today? Not a whole lot more rain in our forecast. Maybe in some places another 1/4 of an inch or so. We're going to turn our attention to the winds. Our steady winds are here on the left in blue. Our winds are coming out of the northeast at about 10 to 15 right now, with some gusts a little higher. Rocky Mount gusting to 21, and in Goldsboro gusting to around 17. It's not likely to get a lot stronger than that. Our gusts will probably be in the 25 mile per hour range as we head through the afternoon. That should be about as high as it gets, maybe an isolated 30 mile per hour gust. So we're still tracking Imelda and Umberto. Both of those are now hurricanes. We'll update that because Imelda just became a hurricane. High surf, rip current risk we'll see along the coast. We'll take a look at both of these storms. I want to show you how far it is from Wilmington to the center of Imelda right now. It's about 350 miles away. So we're not going to see any real major impacts from this storm. It will continue to move away from us. You can see as a Category 1 storm, it moves right over Bermuda, and then Umberto moves north and then makes that right turn. So we're looking at these storms, of course, pulling away from us, but definitely dealing with some impacts along the coast, but they'll be fairly minor. A gale warning, high rip current danger, and high surf advisory. Gale warning is winds at 30 to about 50 miles per hour. And of course, we'll have that high surf advisory and the potential for some minor coastal flooding. We're going to start to see more sunshine tomorrow and some pretty weather for much of the rest of the week. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We got a real situation on I-40 eastbound between Aviation Parkway and Wade Avenue because of this crash. You can see it stretches all the way back past Aviation Parkway. So let's take you outside and show you what we're talking about. These are the eastbound lanes coming toward us this morning. You can see the slowdown that it's causing, but you know, those westbound lanes are flowing along rather nicely. In terms of major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. That I-40 eastbound, you're looking at a 10-minute delay, an 8-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. And boy, look at this. You're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, more than a half-hour delay. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out. You might want to take Garner Road.
EV credit ending. Today is the last day for a $7,500 tax credit on electric vehicles. What automakers are considering to make sure sales keep coming in.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. The time is 8:26. I'm Laura Levine. Let's get right over to Ken Smith with traffic. Ken.
Yeah, Laura, we've got a huge delay happening on I-40 westbound coming in from Garner this morning. You have this crash shutting down at least 2 lanes, including the exit-only lane there that spits you onto the westbound lanes of 440 this morning. So you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning. You're looking at a 37-minute delay, so keep that in mind. You might want to use Garner Road as an alternate route. You're coming in from I-40 eastbound, you're looking at a 9-minute delay, an 8-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest, and a 7-minute delay if you're coming in on I-87 from Knightdale. Elizabeth.
And we take a look at the rain out there, of course, that's causing some of those issues. It's a little bit steadier north of 85, but really starting to see it taper off in our southern counties and our eastern counties as well. And it's not likely to necessarily come back. We'll continue to see the rain weakening over the next several hours. Once we get into the afternoon, a sprinkle or two will be about all that's left. But of course, it is a WRAL weather alert day for that rain that we're seeing this morning. 70 in Wilson right now, 67 Durham, 69 in Fayetteville. You can see wet conditions here in downtown Durham. Our temperatures will climb into the low 70s this afternoon, and it will be breezy.
Elizabeth, thank you. And with that in mind, we are tracking conditions on the coast this morning as Tropical Storm Imelda, or Hurricane Imelda, that is, prepares to head out to sea. We have a live look this morning at Curry Beach. Areas along the coast are dealing with wind and rip currents. Parts of the Outer Banks will be under a coastal flood advisory today. We are expecting to learn new information about the victims today in the deadly shooting in Southport. Yesterday, a judge ordered 40-year-old Nigel Edge to be held without bond. We'll continue to follow this story. Next on Fox 50, people in our area preparing for the impacts of a government shutdown. And there's much more coming up on Today in Studio 1A.
This morning, it's a WRAL weather alert day for some showers. Those are beginning to taper off. It is likely to be breezy during the afternoon. I'll show you how strong the winds will get.
And from the Triangle to the coast, WRAL's Monica Casey is at Curry Beach this morning tracking Imelda's impact. And we're keeping an eye on the road conditions here in the Triangle. Our team has everything you need to know before heading out the door.
And the countdown is on. In less than 24 hours, federal funding runs out. What's at stake for people here at home? Of course, we're following that as well as what is now Hurricane Imelda and all the conditions that you're seeing right now in the Triangle. Thanks for being with us here in the 8:30 half hour. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Laura Levine. Yes, things continue to evolve as we know when it comes to weather. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gartner tracking the latest course and path of the storm. Elizabeth.
Yeah, we'll take a look first at Imelda, which just became a hurricane in the 8 o'clock advisory just about 30 minutes or so ago. It's about 200 miles off the coast of Florida and about 350 miles off of of the coast of North Carolina, right there at Cape Fear. Of course, we can't forget Hurricane Umberto. It is going to weaken a little bit in the next couple of days while Imelda strengthens a little bit. And Umberto is going to be one of the storms, of course, that helps to bring some rip current danger and some heavy surf to the coast of North Carolina. What we're seeing this morning is a flow of tropical moisture. And as we've gotten through the last couple of hours, the rain has really started to fall apart a good bit. It started off drying out in our northeastern counties, and now our southwestern counties starting to see a break in the precipitation. North of Raleigh, north of I-85, we're still seeing a better chance for rain, but that also will start to taper off. So Carrboro, Raleigh, down to Clayton, Smithfield, and then up north of the I-85 corridor is where we're seeing most of the rain falling right now. We will see that chance of rain falling off pretty quickly between now and lunchtime. It's a 30% chance this afternoon, which means just a few sprinkles or light showers during the evening commute. Rain continues tapering off around midday, and it starts to dry out some for us this evening. Hurricane Imelda is now has winds at 75 miles per hour. It's already started that northeasterly path at 7 miles per hour. So it's not moving terribly fast, but may become Category 2 as it moves over Bermuda, which is not good news for them. We're going to talk more about what they'll see from Umberto coming up. But we are definitely looking at wet conditions in downtown Raleigh. 67 is our current temperature. We'll only climb into the low 70s this afternoon. Coming up, we'll talk more about what the coast is seeing, what some of the advisories there are. Ken?
Hey, 32 Elizabeth, we got a couple of trouble spots on I-40 because of a couple of crashes. Let's start with I-40 eastbound this morning, right here at Wade Avenue. You can see the huge delays it's causing all the way back to past Aviation Parkway. I would recommend maybe using I-540 as an alternate route to get around what's happening there on I-40 eastbound. The other situation, we've got a couple of lanes blocked because of a crash near the I-40, I-440 interchange there in southeast Raleigh. That's stretching all the way back to Highway 70 this morning. You can see a couple of lanes are still blocked there as first responders continue to work that scene. It's a situation that's going to cause quite a bit of a delay in that particular area. So right now you're looking at a 46-minute delay if you're coming in from Garner-Johnston County on Highway 36. I would recommend Jones Sausage Road, getting off on Jones Sausage Road, or even Garner Road this morning. You're looking at an 8-minute delay if you're coming in from Apex, another 8-minute coming in from I-40 eastbound, some coming in from Durham, as well as a 9-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest. We also have the WRAL Storm Tracker out on the roads this morning. Let's check in with Ali Cadlabar and photographer Michael Joyner. You've been driving around all over Wake County and Durham County this morning. What are you seeing right now?
Ken, just as Elizabeth was saying, we are seeing that rain slack off compared to around 5 this morning. We saw a steady rain throughout the morning, and now we can see a few sprinkles. Conditions are improving. We are caught in one of those congestion or one of those delays that you mentioned, Ken. We're heading off of Durham Freeway onto I-885, and we can see that traffic is piled up here. But what you can also see is that those roads are still wet, and there's still some water on the roads there, so make sure you're keeping a good distance, being cautious, being slow. You may want to give yourself some extra time because of these delays, but also because of these slick roads as well, Ken.
Yeah, we got that heavy congestion building on the I-40 eastbound. I told you about that situation there just a few minutes ago, so you can see what's happening there on those I-40 eastbound lanes. Now, in terms of the major routes heading into Durham this morning, we're looking at a 20-minute delay. If you're using Highway 98 to come into Durham from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 19-minute delay coming in from Chapel Hill. But all the other major routes are relatively delay-free, nothing that's going to make you late. As always, you're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Hurricane Imelda is impacting some parts of North Carolina this morning. WRAL's Monica Casey is live at Curry Beach for us. And Monica, we know that those wind gusts and rip currents are some of the main concerns right now.
Those are definitely the main issues. Rain has really not been a problem this morning, and while it is gusty, take a look down here at the end of the pier. You can see a man in a pink shirt down there. He's fishing, so it's not so unpleasant that it's keeping people off the beach altogether. Now, Governor Stein declared a state of emergency on Saturday across North Carolina to make sure all assets at the state's disposal were ready in case they were needed here along the coast. He said in a press conference yesterday he has activated the state emergency response team, including public safety and transportation.
The combined impact of the two storms, Umberto and Imelda, may cause isolated flash flooding, coastal flooding, ocean overwash, wind gusts, and dangerous rip currents throughout much of this week.
Now, although we're lucky to not be standing out here in the rain, you might be able to hear the wind in the microphone right now. It is certainly gusting, but we are seeing people walking along the beach, enjoying the morning out here. Luckily, no one going in the water, as that's looking pretty rough. Live in Curry Beach, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Yes, as long as they're staying out of the water. Thanks to Monica for that report. Well, Imelda's impact will be felt with rain and wind on South Carolina's coast as well. Emergency management in South Carolina says the forecast seems to have changed for the better. However, they're not in the clear just yet. Experts say surf and marine conditions will be dangerous throughout the course of the week.
The rip current threat is high, and we know where there's going to be a high surf advisory in effect off of our shores. So this is a very large beach destination for folks. So we want people to follow the rules. If the lifeguards are there, what are the flags being flown, and understand what the risks are. We don't want folks to put themselves in a bad position.
Emergency management in Horry County says they have the resources they need and people in place to be ready to jump into action. So you can track the rain and the tropics in real time. Be sure to turn on the push notifications so you receive alerts about weather changes in your area.
We're headed for a possible government shutdown in less than 16 hours. You can see the countdown going right now. The government runs out of money at the end of midnight tonight, 1 minute after midnight tonight, and the two parties remain far apart on an agreement. WRAL's Kelsey Harvey explains what's at stake for the people right here at home.
Thousands of federal jobs could be at stake. Operations here at the federal courthouse in Raleigh may look different within the next 24 hours. Time is running out for another federal government shutdown. By this time tomorrow, all non-essential government functions could be at a standstill. We spoke with Meredith College political science professor David McClennan about what this all means. He says essential services like Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare might not be affected initially, but there could be some serious disruptions in other government operations. The Trump administration is considering mass layoffs of federal workers.
That's what could really affect North Carolina, because it may be that people who work at EPA or people who work at the national park wouldn't just get furloughed, they'd be fired.
McClennan says there probably won't be a quick solution for this. That's because of partisan rifts and the fact that we've had some longer government shutdowns in the past, like the 35-day shutdown that happened back in 2018. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Well, the city of Rocky Mount is responding to a $30 million budget crisis by cutting jobs. Leaders held a special meeting last night where they said every department will be affected. Up to 15 police jobs and 10 fire positions will be eliminated. The city says non-essential vacancies and newly created jobs will be among the first to go. A state auditor found the city overspent millions each month for more than 2 years. Now savings are down from $100 million to just $20 million.
Today, we expect to learn new information about the victims in the deadly shooting at a waterfront pub in Southport, North Carolina. A judge ordered 40-year-old Nigel Edge to be held without bond yesterday. He is expected to be back in court in 2 weeks. The former U.S. Marine is charged with 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. Edge is accused of firing from a boat into a crowd at the American Fish Company in Southport Saturday night. Investigators say the shooting was premeditated, but they do not have a motive.
2 school bus crashes are now under investigation in Johnston County. One of them involved children on board, and video shows the moment of impact. Take a look at your screen right there. You see it right there. It happened at the intersection of Highway 50 and Mount Pleasant Road. The bus was headed to McGee's Crossroads Middle School when it collided with that SUV. 9 students were on that bus at the time. No one was hurt, though. WRAL asking if any charges will be filed. The crash remains under investigation. The second bus crash involved a garbage truck. This was the scene on Covered Bridge Road in Johnston County. No children were on board that bus this time. Troopers say the school bus crossed the center line. The trash truck tried to avoid it and went off the road and into a ditch.
Today is the last day for that $7,500 federal tax credit on electric vehicles. Starting tomorrow, EV buyers lose the incentive, and that means prices will go up. Automakers are weighing whether to respond with price cuts, better financing, or new incentives to keep sales moving. Many rushed in to buy in September before the savings disappeared. Lead in food. Several products are under recall, and 5 on Your Side's Ashley Rowe shows you what to check in your pantry.
And a rainy morning commute as you look live at Durham this morning. The WRAL weather alert day that's in effect. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner explains the hourly rain chances and when you'll feel refreshing dip in the humidity.
844, 2 hurricanes, one off the coast of Florida here, of course, is Imelda, and then Umberto sitting off not too far from Bermuda out there. We see a plume of moisture coming up from the south that's brought us some rain this morning. It is in the process of tapering off. Still seeing some steady rain really from Durham northward up the I-85 corridor, but everywhere else that rain is tapering off now pretty quickly. A little light rain in Raleigh, and then most of it is north of Durham or way back to the west. So we're looking at much lesser chance for rain as we get through the afternoon and evening, just a 30% chance. So we're going to see it dropping back down to just a few sprinkles as we get through the evening commute. Taking a look outside in Wilson, it's 70, 67 in Durham, 69 in Fayetteville. In most places, it is still damp, definitely cloudy, and it'll be breezy. I'll show you how gusty it'll feel through the afternoon. Coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we have a crash on the I-40, 440 interchange there, affecting traffic in those I-40 westbound lanes coming in from Garner this morning. You can see first responders working that scene has been moved over to the shoulder of the road, but we're still seeing some lingering delays in I-40 westbound coming in from Garner right now, because right now you're looking at a 28-minute delay. At one point, that was up to like a 46-minute delay, so keep that in mind. 14 minutes if you're coming in from Durham this morning on I-40 eastbound because of crash that's closing a couple of lanes there as well. And you're looking at a 10-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest this morning.
Thank you. Everyone is now accounted for after an attack on a Michigan church left 4 people dead. Investigators continue to sift through the ash and rubble following the horrific attack. Hospital officials gave an update saying of the 8 patients who arrived there, 1 died and the 7 others survived. They range in age from just 6 years old to 78. 5 of them were shot. The others suffered from smoke inhalation.
3 food recalls in September involved high levels of lead. 5 on Your Side's Ashley Rowe shows us the products to look for in your home.
Wegmans recalled some of its canned fruit. It impacts its fruit cocktail, halved pears, and organic sliced pears. Health leaders say lead levels in the products were higher than normal. You can return recalled cans for a full refund. Sprout Organics is recalling 3.5-ounce pouches of its sweet potato, apple, and spinach baby food due to possible high lead levels. The product was sold mainly at Walgreens and some independent stores. These are also eligible for a full refund. Jiva Organic Ground Cinnamon is the 12th cinnamon product recalled because of lead since July 2024. Anyone who has this cinnamon at home is encouraged to throw it out. And if you've eaten it, you're advised to see your doctor.
Long-term exposure to elevated levels of lead in your diet have varying effects, but young children are particularly vulnerable and may experience learning disabilities, behavioral difficulties, and lower IQ. Ashley Rowe, 5 on Your Side.
The state health department launched 3 new review panels to improve child welfare. They're made up of everyday people, and their job is to make recommendations on how to improve the system. You can apply to serve on the board, and applications will be accepted through October 25th. A familiar scam is making the rounds once again. Listen to this. The Chatham County Sheriff warned that some people are getting calls saying that they owe money for missed jury duty. I know you've heard this one before. We've reported on this sort of thing a lot in the past. These calls aren't real, and if you get one, you should definitely hang up.
A program meant to get people back into their homes in Western North Carolina hit a new milestone. Renew NC has now received 3,000 applications. The program prioritizes people who are low income and have children or seniors. Some of the first people are just now getting to move into their new homes thanks to that program. The bulk of the applications so far coming from Buncombe County.
A longtime event at the North Carolina State Fair will not return this year. The organizers behind the JC's turkey shoot say that they won't be there. People have lined up to take their shot for more than 70 years. Organizers blamed increased costs and new requirements for building their booth. They said they're thankful for all of the support over the years and grateful to have played a role in the traditions of the State Fair. We have just over 2 weeks away from the State Fair's return. You can find information on where to buy tickets on our website.
AI actress backlash. Time for a look at what's trending.
Yeah, listen to this. The creation of a fully generated AI actress is sparking debate in Hollywood. Tilly Norwood was recently unveiled by an AI talent studio at the Zurich Film Festival. People in the industry have been quick to respond. Actress Emily Blunt told Variety that the news is really scary. Okay, we have to talk about this.
Yeah, of course it's scary because you see how real she looks?
Yes, she is not real. And this is also sparking really comments from the music industry as well. They signed an AI artist. So many people in the realm of creativity worried about the future of AI.
And the future of humans?
Yeah.
My
Pretty
goodness,
scary.
Yeah. Well, McDonald's Monopoly is back, this time with a high-tech twist. The promotion is back. The actual game, though, is not. The game will now be played in the McDonald's app. If all pieces of a property are collected, customers can redeem prizes like free food and bonus points. The biggest prizes, a new car and $1 million in cash.
Talk about a throwback there. All right. Yeah. Well, now it's time to get a check on the forecast with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Elizabeth, we've seen some wet roads pretty much all morning, but it consistently has stayed light.
And we've really started to see some changes just in the last couple of hours. It is a weather alert day. Number one, Imelda became a hurricane at 8 o'clock. It has started to make its turn to the east already. Of course, we're also watching our rain decreasing. It's already tapering off out there. Expected to be breezy at times across our area this afternoon, but we're talking about winds at around 25 miles per hour, which is really not enough to cause a lot of widespread issues. We shouldn't see a lot of trees down or a lot of power outages. This is a look at Imelda. I'm sorry, I'm going to get that banner changed, but it's moving northeast at 7 with 75 mile per hour winds at this point. And of course, we follow its path. It continues to move away. Right now, it's about 200 miles off the coast of Florida. It's about 350 miles off of Cape Fear, which is our southernmost point there. And again, just moves on to the east and potentially becoming Category 2 before it moves over Bermuda. Watching Hurricane Umberto. Look at it. It doesn't look nearly as organized as it did before. It continues weakening. It is moving mainly north-northwest. It's going to move up around Bermuda. Here's Bermuda. You can watch it go up around Bermuda and then head off to the east. And by Thursday, it may no longer have tropical characteristics. So it may end up dying out fairly quickly. But both of them are still on track to continue to move on out and away from the United States, including us here. Expect Imelda to continue to move up toward Bermuda. And of course, watching Umberto going along with it. Once we get into Wednesday and Thursday, we start to see some drier air feeding in behind those two storms. Already, we're starting to see things dry out a little bit here. Most of the rain that we're seeing now is going to be from Durham and Chapel Hill northward. Still a little bit of light patchy rain below that, but it is definitely starting to taper off. How much rain have we seen so far? There have been some pockets in the western part of our viewing area that have been a little heavier, a little over 2.5 inches there in Sanford, about 2 inches not too far from Chapel Hill, about 1 inch in Durham. In Raleigh, it's been 1 inch and about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then in some of our eastern counties, we just haven't seen a whole lot of rain out of the system. And of course, the rain has already tapered off there. Futurecast showing that rain just zipping right on out of here pretty quickly. And again, late this afternoon, a sprinkle or two or a light shower is all we'll see. The rain is still coming down here in downtown Raleigh. 67 is our temperature, and we'll climb into the low 70s this afternoon. Looking at our winds out of the northeast at about 10 to 15 miles per hour steady currently, and we're seeing some gusts up to around 22 miles per hour. Expect gusts up to around 25 later on this afternoon. Checking temperatures, it looks like 70s all the way through until Saturday, and some nice clearing. We'll enjoy some pretty weather toward the end of the work week.
You. And before we go to break, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic coming up next.